reactions after today's practice?
Some good and some bad. Some things that we're doing well structurally. There's obviously some new things on each side that we're learning, and we're doing some things well. I thought the running backs had a good day today. But then there's some unforced errors, 100 level things that have nothing to do with scheme or structure that we made mistakes on today. So we got to clean that up.
How's the integration of all the new faces gone so far?
I've been very pleased with the transition of the new players and coaches. I thought, as I mentioned before, we did a lot of team building in second half of January and February. Coach Quinn led the charge. We really worked hard for these guys to come together, get to know one another, and start to forge some relationships that are meaningful. So I think that's helping.
How are you structuring this spring? And are there segments that you're trying to get different things out of? And where are you right now?
Yeah, so this is mini camp 2. We've got 4 mini camps. This one's got 4 practices in it. Last week had 3. And our final week will have 5. So, we've got goals for each mini camp where we need to be. We're still 100 level in so many places. We've got to find out who can play. There's guys that are getting opportunities, whether they're transfers or they're guys that have come up in the program. Can they make the play? And then secondly, just 100 level learning of our structures and schemes, and not just what to do, but why we do it. So we got a long way to go.
Is that more extended than it has been in the past because of so many new guys and the new schemes that you're trying to implement?
It could be. Our installations are always flexible. I've never confined coaches. I never did it myself to, we're supposed to install this on Friday, we're going to do it. If we're not where we need to be to forge ahead, we won't. It's not preseason camp. It's hard to be a 300 or 400 level team or player or unit if you're not good at the 100 and 200 level stuff.
So those installations, are those more morsels that you're giving them, or are you trying to give them as much as they can handle at the moment?
In the spring, it's my philosophy, it's our philosophy that you want to make sure you get all of your concepts taught. Let's say you're running Fire Zone 3 blitzes. Well, you may not get all 4 of them in that you have that you will eventually install, but you're going to get one of them to get the concepts taught that go along with it.
What about the running backs stood out to you today? You mentioned them earlier.
Yeah, I tell you, Jeremiah Coney, he just, he's playing a little bit banged up, and we did our angle tackle drill today, and he did a great job. He always does in that drill. He made Caleb Woodson miss pretty badly, and Caleb's one of our better tacklers. It was a boost to the offense to start to practice that way. And then we got a healthy Hawkins out there for the first time, and I tell you, he made some cuts. He caught the ball well. He just did some things in day one that, I didn't expect to see a whole lot from him today, and he jumped out. And then Tyler Mason, he's got the ability to kind of slide and make an outside cut look really easy. And we saw some of that today from him.
Is that group able to do a little bit more than you thought at this stage? When you were listening off pre-spring, it sounded like you might not have any running backs for the spring game. But
yeah, to your point, I think that's why I gave them a shout out in front of the team. Just, I think maybe the expectations, were where they were, and so to see them shine today, to me was a bright spot.
Hawkins, is that kind of the stuff you saw on film when you guys were recruiting him?
It really is. Some of it, I didn't see the physical runs today that I know, he's capable of. We saw those on his film all over the place, but he said good vision today, played, good ball security, had a nice catch out in the perimeter and then made a guy miss. And he's coming off of a mild injury that had him limited, so it was good to see.
How's Cam Selton settling in at wide receiver?
I've been pleasantly surprised. He catches the ball more naturally than I anticipated. He's got really good speed. He's got a great build. He's got really good work ethic. You know, to this point with 4 practices and the winter program, he's everything that I hoped he'd be.
When you look at his size just out there, it stands out. Do you think of other possibilities that he can do, just somehow get the ball in his hands?
Yeah. I even think about him on defense. He looks like a bona fide safety. He's a really good-looking athlete that can run, that has agility, that works. He's got a burst. He's raw in a lot of areas, but we're excited to work with him.
I think you mentioned when they officially had signed him that he kind of envisioned him Debo Samuel type. Is that intriguing, the fact that he has a running back background at Tennessee, but also from his high school days he was a guy who could split out outside?
Yeah, I think it's, he's got the ability to do that. Are we able to do that with our offense and, with the personnel we have? We'll see. But he's, based on his running back background, he's good with the ball in his hands after the catch.
Ellis, Koval, Flowers, Cash, a lot of new guys at safety. How have you seen them play out so far? What's caught your eye?
They all have something. They all have some traits that are catching our eye. Tyson his football IQ is off the charts, particularly for a new guy. Had a nice interception today on a deflected ball. Koval can run, can strike you. It's just making sure he gets going in the right direction. But and I think Cash and Ellis has a really nice speed. He's got some traits that you equate to corner or receiver. Like, he's a really good athlete. And then I think that Cash is just kind of your all-around type safety, man. He can tackle. He's got good instincts. He's not going to be the top guy out of that group on measurables and speed and all that stuff. But when you just put the whole body of work together, it's a great group to work with. We have really helped ourselves there. We've got depth potentially. We've got the ability to play more sub packages potentially. So it's nice. We just haven't had depth in the secondary like we need. And so I think at corner and safety, we're in a better place that way.
Speaking of safety, I saw Knowledge working with, warming up with the safeties. Is he one of those guys that you're going to move back and forth between safety and corner, or do you see him more developing?
Right now, he's a corner. He's got nickel capabilities, and so he's going to get some cross training. But he's a good young prospect. And so far, after 4 days and the winter program, I've been impressed with Knowledge.
Is it a learning process for you, seeing how these coordinators operate when they're on the field? And you kind of stand back and let them do their thing and then adjust to how they're doing it?
Yeah,
how
I
does
think
that work?
that's a good question, Andy. I think it's a balance of both. There's certain things that are non-negotiables for me that we're going to do regardless of who the play caller is. But there's also things that, I want to make sure I don't handicap them with some things that are their strengths or their things they really believe in. So there's been some give and take on both sides.
Do you find yourself stepping in more or less, or is it the same as it was before?
I think, to be quite honest, just in general, when you reflect on where you can be better, I'm trying to be more involved in more places. And that's not to micromanage. It's just to make sure that standards and expectations are being met. So it's not a criticism, or it's not, to overstep. It's just to make sure that things are going the way they need to.
We're going to talk to Aiden Green here. How's he looked in the early going? Has it sort of continued what he did in the bowl game, in the bowl prep?
Yeah, I think so. He's made a couple of really nice catches in some big moments, to be honest. He made one to start practice in red zone one-on-ones. The game winner for the offense, made a heck of a play. He's a competitor. He's a worker. He's more mature now. He's coming. I'm excited about the year he can have.
He seemed like he really embraced, say being a go-to guy, but being one of the senior guys on the team. Do you sense that in him? That
Yeah.
he's, losing the 4 graduate guys, that somebody's got to take over.
Yeah, I think those guys, they took a back seat, and I get it. But, it's just like it, on defense with some of these guys, with KG and Caleb and JK. I mean, those guys, it's kind of their team now. And they have a voice. and it's certainly true with Aiden, Johnny Garrett, guys like that. I mean, that been here in the program for 2 and 3 years, and it's their team now.
One or two more.
So Kelvin Gilliam's got the lunch pail. Noticed in previous years you didn't have the lunch pail during the winter. Was that something you and Coach Seifkus wanted to bring back year round?
Yeah, and I think having Bud more involved and just, it represents so much of who we want to be defensively that it needs to be part of our program, whether we're in phase 1, 2, 3, or 4. And Kelvin certainly deserves to carry that lunch pail right now.
What did you see out of him that made him earn that?
He is unbelievably consistent each and every day. The way he works, the plays he makes, he's got high energy for a 295-pound guy. He's got a lot of juice. He's smart. He's a true veteran. He's got his time at Oklahoma. He's got his time here. And I think, one of the things I've noticed from him this winter and even here early spring, sign of true leadership, one of the traits is when it's not going well, who steps forward. And he's done that on a number of occasions.
Bell and Jonko, both of those guys been kind of what you've expected so far?
Yeah, I think so. I think Bell's going to be a guy that potentially is going to be hard to block. James is bigger and stronger than I expected. A guy that can strain and hold point and do things. I think those guys, coupled with Burgos and Jason Abbey and Asen and even James Jeanette right now, had a good winter. And I think we've got a good group there. We still have to get better. We got to get to a place where we can be productive enough. But, the stable of guys at that position I'm excited about.
The other green in the room, Donovan, he's kind of a very experienced guy, well-traveled. How's he been so far? And it seems like when he's healthy, he can be very productive.
Yeah, knock on wood right now. He's been healthy all winter. He's been healthy this point in spring. He's made plays. I think he's earned, trust and respect. He's an awesome young man, very respectful, learns well, acclimated, talked openly in front of our team on, a particular occasion, showed some vulnerability and just, really impressed with him. And I'm excited about what he brings to our team.